My name's Lee Morris. I am one of the co-owners of Fstoppers.com, and we make most of our money these days creating very long, in-depth photography tutorials. One of the most popular series that we've done has been with Elia Liccardi. It's called Photographing the World, and we travel all around the world with him, and he teaches landscape and cityscape photography. And one of the most frustrating things about putting a year of your life into a project like this and so much personal money is putting it up for sale and then just a couple days later seeing it on torrent sites for free. So for this last project, Photographing the World 3, we decided to take matters into our own hands and make our own torrent.
I think it's fair to say that we've all downloaded something illegally in the past, whether it's an MP3 years ago or a movie or a TV show, and occasionally you download something and it turns out that it was kind of like a Rickroll, or it was supposed to be a movie and it ended up being a piece of porn, or a song was just 3 minutes of static. So we kept talking and we thought it would be a good idea to create this dummy lesson or this sort of shadow tutorial that was actually a fake, and then seed it on BitTorrent.
And so instead of going to Iceland or Italy or China or Cambodia like we've done before, we decided instead to go to a local Olive Garden in North Charleston, South Carolina.
Welcome to Olive Garden, everybody. We are in North Charleston, South Carolina.
We wanted to ride this constant line of like, is this for real? Could this possibly be real? Is Elia joking right now? I don't think he's joking. He's being totally serious. And so what we did was we filmed an entire lesson at this Olive Garden.
I remember one scene where we're actually scouting the location and we put Elia right behind all the dumpsters. This looks so ridiculous. We have trash everywhere.
I really like the shape of the building. We have the largest part of the restaurant right here in front of me, and it kind of diminishes down and creates some really nice natural leading lines.
I think my favorite part is when Elia uses the body of water to get a reflection of the Olive Garden from the back, and it ends up just being a puddle with some trash floating in it.
Now the composition is very similar to the other part that I just scouted, but really what caught my eye was this awesome body of water down here. So what I thought I could probably pull off is by putting this as low as possible to the ground, right above the water, I had a feeling that I might be able to pull off a really awesome reflection shot of the Olive Garden itself.
When we produce a lot of these tutorials, we try to travel to places on the off season and eliminate as many variables as possible, whether that be tourists or cars or traffic. But with this lesson, it was funny because we had people coming out, taking out trash, and they were waving at the camera. And normally we would try to edit that out, but to make this even funnier, we were like, let's just leave this stuff in.
Now, when we're filming the real tutorial, Elia likes to educate everyone on the locations that we're visiting. So I was on Wikipedia showing Elia some of the interesting facts about Olive Garden, and he was able to work them into the lesson.
Interesting fact, in 2012, Olive Garden became one of the first companies to limit their employees' hours to part-time only in an effort to curb their spending for health benefits.
Meanwhile, Lee and I are behind the cameras just cracking up.
In the fall of 2013, Olive Garden rolled out the never-ending Pasta Bowl, where customers could eat all the pasta they want for only $9.99. And on location, it was starting to come together. Like, it actually felt kind of believable. I was teaching the aperture and the settings in the camera positioning, zooming, all the stuff that we usually do on location.
But that is only half of the process. We then came back to the studio and we filmed an entire post-processing lesson as well.
If you take a look here on the screen, you can see here, if I open up this folder, Lesson 1 Charleston Olive Garden, you'll be able to follow along with me step by step.
When Elia's working on the computer here, he's really trying to keep this thing relatively serious. But as we go, it starts to get more and more and more ridiculous.
So that takes care of the left side of the image. What about this car? Well, the car is kind of an issue, right? If you're shooting an Italian restaurant and there are cars in the parking lot, you can leave the cars if they're Italian cars. So I'd say if this was a Maserati, a Lamborghini, but this is like a Honda Civic. I was just gonna kind of go nuts in post-production and kind of give it away quickly, but Lee was like, no man, you gotta make people believe. Must still be full from Olive Garden. You gotta find some way to put Olive Garden back in Italy, like composite, like the Colosseum behind that. Now bear in mind, if Olive Garden was on Janicolo Hill, you wouldn't really have this vantage point. So you can't get greedy and try to show all of Rome like this. It's more realistic if you kind of are a little bit conservative and you bring it down. So you can see some of the domes and the ancient churches and everything like that. Let's just say that by the time you get to the end of the lesson, it becomes pretty obvious that it's a joke. So first thing first, I definitely want some of this area here, definitely some of this area as well. And I think we're gonna go ahead and go in the direction of the sign itself. And right around here, I definitely want that area as well. So let's go ahead and take a look at this mask. I think that is the perfect mask. Regardless of when you actually figured it out, it's pretty obvious now that this is not part of photographing the world. Hell, this isn't even a real lesson. We just made this up to make a point.
Once we wrapped up filming this whole thing, I had no idea how big the response would actually become.
We knew we could make this funny fake content, but we had no idea if we could get people to actually download it and think it was real.
What we ended up doing was we created our own fake torrent, and I've never done anything like this before. We got some help from some other people that we know, and to get the torrent ranked or rated, we had some other people come in and give fake reviews for the torrent, which like pushed it up the rankings or whatever.
This was actually becoming successful.
It became the #1 torrent for Photographing the World 3, and that means that the majority of people who tried to steal this tutorial actually got the fake one instead of the real one.
It was really funny to read some of the emails that we got because some people were legitimately confused and then others were upset with us, but the whole time we were thinking, this isn't even on the market yet. You guys are totally stealing this and then emailing us and complaining about it.
So talking about piracy in general, I don't think this video is going to change everyone's mind, but I think photographers are pretty hypocritical in this way. I know a lot of photographers who steal movies and music and software and videos like our tutorials, and then you should see how they act the second somebody uses one of their pictures without permission.
They kind of justify it in this weird way. And so we wanted to try to tackle this idea of piracy in a way that would be funny and humorous while at the same time kind of proving a point.
And I think it's very easy to look at, you know, somebody like Universal and say, I'm just gonna download one of their movies and they're billion-dollar corporation and nobody's gonna know, it's not gonna affect anything. For our video, there's literally just 3 of us. It's me, Patrick, and Elia doing everything. We're the ones putting up the money, we're the ones putting up the time, and it takes like a year in many cases to make a tutorial like this.
Maybe when they see that we've put that much effort into something that's not even real, they'll understand how much effort we put into the real thing.
I'm not gonna pretend that this joke torrent that we made is going to change everybody's mind and overnight photographers are going to stop stealing content like this, but give it a thought. If you're not happy with somebody else using your work, what's the difference when, you know, somebody else makes a song or a movie or a video tutorial? I think it's definitely worth paying for the hard work that other creatives put into making things.
What's funny is this whole thing started out as just an elaborate joke, but now people are searching it because they actually want to see the fake tutorial. We're getting all these searches of people who just want to watch the fake tutorial and see the effort we put into it.
Now, if you'd like to see this entire lesson, it's pretty long, but if you want to see how to photograph an Olive Garden, you can check out the link in the description of this video.
And for those of you who have bought our tutorials, I just want to say thank you, because without that support, we would not be able to create any of this content. If you've never bought one of our tutorials, but you're interested in landscape photography, I'd highly recommend to head over to fstoppers.com/store, where you can see all 3 of our Photographing the World series that Elias produced with us, and he basically teaches you every single thing you would want to know about landscape photography. To learn all about Photographing the World and all of the other photography tutorials that we've produced, head over to fstoppers.com/store.